Steel groans and ice splits under pressure. Hundreds of miles from civilization, a ship pushes through a frozen landscape that refuses to bend. This is where survival isn't just tested, it's demanded. The Arctic Ocean is not a place you visit. It is a place that visits you, slowly, silently, and without warning. For months at a time, crews aboard massive icebreakers become both guardians and prisoners of this frozen expanse. Their world is a monochrome landscape of white and gray, punctuated only by the low hum of engines and the occasional crack of ice under immense pressure. Yet beneath the cold and isolation, there is life. There are stories of resilience, ingenuity, and a stubborn human spirit that refuses to yield to the elements. In this video, we journey into that hidden world. We explore the daily grind, the dangers, the wonders, and the extraordinary lengths men and women go to keep the Arctic navigable. This is not a story about the ice. It is a story about those who live with it. The Arctic is a world ruled by extremes. Temperatures drop to levels that can freeze exposed skin in minutes. Snowstorms appear without warning, burying the horizon and turning familiar paths into disorienting mazes. Ice stretches as far as the eye can see, thicker than a skyscraper, unyielding and relentless. To survive and to operate, you need more than courage. You need machines capable of brute force. The icebreakers. These huge, heavy, steel ships dominate the frozen landscape. They are designed to ride up onto ice sheets, using their weight to fracture the ice and push the frozen barrier aside. They are engineering marvels, floating fortresses, capable of carving paths through some of the harshest conditions on Earth. For shipping, for research, for geopolitics, they are indispensable. Without them, entire regions of the Arctic would be closed off, inaccessible, and silent. Aboard these ships, life is a careful balance between monotony and emergency. The quarters are cramped, a tangle of bunks, metal walls, and equipment. Meals are communal, often hot, always necessary. Engineers, navigators, cooks, and deckhands coexist in an ecosystem of precision and routine. Every person aboard plays a vital role. A single misstep can ripple outward, endangering both crew and vessel. Mental endurance is as crucial as physical. The sun can disappear for months, leaving the world in an almost perpetual twilight. Communication with the outside is limited, leaving crews isolated not just from society, but from time itself. In these conditions, boredom can be lethal in its own way, eroding focus and morale. To cope, crews develop rituals, movie nights, impromptu card games, and even small celebrations that remind them they are still human, not merely operators of a mechanical juggernaut. The work itself is relentless. Ice navigation is a constant challenge. Crew members must monitor shifting ice flows, adjust routes on the fly, and anticipate sudden changes in thickness. Equipment must be maintained in sub-zero temperatures. Lubricants freeze, metal contracts, and electronics behave unpredictably. Even something as simple as climbing a ladder on deck becomes a life-threatening task when the wind whips below -40 degrees Celsius. Yet, amid this harshness, there are moments that leave you speechless. Polar bears patrol distant ice, massive and silent, their white coats blending seamlessly into the landscape. Seals bask near cracks in the ice, oblivious to the steel titan gliding past. Occasionally, the aurora borealis sets the sky ablaze, waves of green and purple dancing in a performance no theater could ever replicate. For a few moments, the danger recedes, replaced by a quiet reverence for the sheer scale and beauty of the Arctic. But these moments are fleeting. The icebreaker is a tool of survival, not leisure. The true test is in the routine, in the small decisions that keep the ship moving and the crew alive. Even the most experienced captains face unpredictability. A sudden, violent storm can trap a vessel in shifting flows. Engines can fail under pressure. Ice can fracture unpredictably, threatening to crush smaller vessels nearby. Emergency protocols are drilled constantly because, out here, a delay of minutes can mean disaster. Beyond the operational, the Arctic is changing. Climate shifts have made ice less predictable, thinner in some areas, but still treacherously thick in others. Crews must adapt to rapidly evolving conditions, combining historical knowledge with real-time observation and intuition. Shipping lanes once deemed reliable now present unexpected hazards. Research missions increasingly rely on icebreakers to deliver personnel and equipment to regions that were once nearly inaccessible. This is the frontier of human adaptation, a test not just of machines, but of human ingenuity. The story of life aboard an icebreaker is also the story of people. Engineers labor in frigid engine rooms, monitoring systems that are the lifeblood of the ship. Navigators chart courses through shifting ice, using both radar and a keen understanding of polar currents. Deckhands brave the elements to ensure the exterior remains intact, risking frostbite and falls on steel decks, slick with ice. Cooks work tirelessly, knowing that morale is sustained as much by a warm meal as by the operation of the ship. Each individual is a cog in a larger machine, yet their humanity defines the success of the mission. Isolation shapes personality. Crew members speak of the eerie quiet of the Arctic night, a silence so complete that even the hum of the ship seems intrusive. They talk of the camaraderie forged under these conditions, bonds stronger than any formed in a city or office. And they recount moments of sheer terror, ice shifting beneath the hull, equipment failures, storms that make the horizon vanish. These are stories rarely told, hidden behind the steel walls of a floating city on ice. The Arctic may be brutal, but it teaches lessons that stay with its crews for life. Every challenge teaches a lesson in patience, resilience, and adaptability. Crews learn to read the ice, predict shifts, and respond to emergencies with precision. They witness the fragility of life and the strength of the human spirit in equal measure. It is a paradoxical existence, harsh yet beautiful, isolating yet intensely social, dangerous yet deeply rewarding. The technological milestones of icebreakers are impressive, but so too is the human ingenuity that makes them operate efficiently. The engineer's calculations, the navigator's split-second decisions, the constant vigilance, these form a choreography of survival. The ship is not merely a vessel, it is a living organism, maintained and propelled by human skill and intuition. Without this symbiosis, the Arctic would remain an insurmountable barrier, its resources untapped, its mysteries untouched. Even in moments of routine, the stakes are high. Simple mechanical issues can cascade into life-threatening situations. A frozen valve can halt water circulation, risking engine overheating. A misread ice thickness report can strand a vessel for days. Emergency drills are frequent and intense, preparing the crew for scenarios that no one wishes to encounter, but everyone must be ready for. The margin for error is virtually non-existent. Life aboard an icebreaker is also a study in contrast. The monotony of routine is punctuated by sudden bursts of adrenaline, the roar of ice cracking under the hull, the jolt of the ship as it powers through a particularly thick sheet, the tension as crew members respond to an unforeseen challenge. These moments create a rhythm, a heartbeat that underlies the frozen stillness of the Arctic environment. Beyond survival, the Arctic offers rare glimpses of the extraordinary. The aurora borealis, shimmering across the polar sky, is more than a visual spectacle. It is a reminder of the scale and power of the natural world. Wildlife sightings, though infrequent, bring both awe and caution. Polar bears are majestic but dangerous. Seals are playful but wary, and every encounter reminds us that humans are visitors in a vast ecosystem. The environmental stakes are rising. Icebreakers now operate in a world altered by climate change. Thinner ice, shifting weather patterns, and increasing commercial and research traffic demand that crews adapt constantly. Sustainability has become a central concern. Fuel efficiency, waste management, and minimizing ecological impact are integrated into daily operations. The icebreaker is a tool of access, and it is also a vessel of responsibility, navigating a fragile environment where mistakes can have lasting consequences. With all the routine, the risks, and the incredible sights, one thing becomes clear. The Arctic tests you, and it changes you. It tests human endurance, intellect, and emotional resilience in ways few other environments can. Those who live and work here develop skills, instincts, and bonds that are impossible to replicate elsewhere. Their experiences are extreme, their environment is extreme, and their stories are extraordinary. It is not merely the scale of the ice or the power of the machinery that captivates, but the combination of human courage and environmental challenge. The crews of icebreakers are both explorers and caretakers, pushing forward through treacherous conditions while observing and respecting a world that is as delicate as it is formidable. Their lives are an ongoing negotiation with the elements, a daily exercise in strategy, endurance, and perseverance. Every journey through the Arctic is unique. Some are short, reconnaissance missions, testing new technology, or delivering essential supplies. Others span months, charting unexplored waters, conducting scientific research, or maintaining shipping lanes critical to global trade. Regardless of mission, the underlying principles remain: constant vigilance, relentless adaptation, and unwavering teamwork. The icebreaker does not distinguish between routine and crisis. It simply demands respect and response. Through storms, ice pressure, mechanical failures, and isolation, the crews endure. They witness sights that barely seem possible, and travel across frozen landscapes that feel more like another planet than Earth. They emerge, not untouched, but profoundly changed, sharpened by the Arctic's trials, bonded by shared experiences, and shaped by an environment that refuses compromise. The Arctic remains one of the last frontiers of human endurance, a place where technology and human ingenuity collide against the raw power of nature. Icebreaker crews live in extremes, balancing routine and emergency, monotony and awe, danger and wonder. They are witnesses to a world most will never see, guardians of routes that enable commerce, research, and exploration in an otherwise inaccessible region. Their lives are defined by resilience, their stories by adaptation, and their work by the quiet, constant dialogue with one of the planet's most formidable landscapes. To understand life aboard an icebreaker is to understand more than a ship. It is to glimpse the limits of human resolve, the subtle poetry of isolation, and the extraordinary ways people adapt to survive in a world defined by ice. If this journey through the Arctic captivated you, watch the next video. Explore another extreme corner of our planet.